Seahawks win this one 24-3. No Tua Tagovailoa. Really hard for Miami to compete. We'll talk about Seattle's top 5 players. Tight end Noah Fant's at the top of the list, 83.7. Defensive tackle Jonathan Hankins with a 78.5. Tyrell Dodson, their linebacker, number 3 on this list, at a 77.3. Zach Charbonnet, the running back, filling in for Kenneth Walker. He had a 74.5 overall grade. Charles Cross, 73.2. That are offensive tackle. And then Geno Smith, a 73.5 in this game. On the other side of things for Miami, defensive tackle Calais Campbell. What?
Ageless. Another one.
That is the theme of this this show here.
We could have been doing this show in 2014, and we would have got all these same guys that we're getting.
You might not be wrong. Calais Campbell, this is the top of the list here. Calais Campbell, 91.1 overall grade. Defensive tackle Zach Seiler had a career day. I'm going to shout him out in a second, 86.5. Cornerback Jalen Ramsey with a 79.3. Offensive tackle Kendall Lamb, who had to come in for Teron Armstead, who had an eye injury in this one, and he was not able to return, 74.9. Tight end Julian Hill with a 70.0, and then Skylar Thompson filling in for Tua Tagovailoa before he even went out, and we had to see a little Tim Boyle action. 43.1 overall grade there for Skylar Thompson. What's your stat that told the story here, Dalton?
They just don't have Tua. I mean, the two guys together.
Sometimes it is just that simple.
The two guys together had a 47.4 passing grade. They had Thompson had 2 turnover-worthy plays, or together they had 2 turnover-worthy plays. There was 6 sacks. Tyreek Hill had 40 yards. Jalen Waddle had 26, and Thompson, and he was under pressure a good amount, but took 5 sacks. Both turnover-worthy plays were under pressure. It's just I don't really know how they're going to win without Tua or without some other option at quarterback.
And I'll tell you what, the stat that told the story for me is the Dolphins' run game, because you're down your starting quarterback. The run game has to supplement what you're doing, even with great pass catchers like Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Last year, the Miami Dolphins were second in the NFL in rushing grade as a team at a 92.3, and they were 10th in EPA per rush. This year, the Dolphins are 31st in EPA per rush. They're not even regressing to the mean. Like, they're not even middle of the pack in the NFL right now. They're damn near dead last. So, not only do you not have Tua, you don't have the run game that you had last year.
Well, you lost Robert Hunt, one of the best guards in football.
Right.
You lost Connor Williams, one of the best centers in football.
That goes into as well. And Liam Eichenberg struggling. Aaron Brewer struggled in this game.
Teron Armstead keeps getting hurt, and I know that's a thing you're touching. I mean, it's just right now.
They do not have the run game to survive without Tua. They don't. And I don't know what conversations are going on behind the scenes with this team, but if Tua is going to be out for most of this year,
let's just say even 4 to 5 weeks, because here's the other problem: the Dolphins.
Well, he's on IR, so he has to miss the next 4 weeks.
So it's 4. So it's 3 more after this one, at least 3 more. The problem for the Dolphins too, the front half of their schedule is supposed to be a lot easier than the back half. The last 5 or 6 weeks of their schedule is absolutely brutal. If they don't get there with more than if they start this season 2-6 or 2-7, and you look at the back end of their schedule, I don't know how they get back. And then you have Tua out of rhythm, coming off a concussion, and everybody's worried about another one because that's what we're going to.
Of course,
right.
If Tua is even at risk of missing anything more than these next 3 games that are coming up, you have to look hard at the quarterbacks that might be available via trade.
I'm not even sure who that would be. Is it Davis Mills?
Well, I mean, you could look at a situation where
bring Ryan Tannehill back.
I mean, maybe, but where's Joe Flacco? Right? I mean,
backing up Richardson.
Right? I mean, do you think about giving the Colts a call for Joe Flacco? Aiden O'Connell, it looks like, is the one with Gardner Minshew getting the starting job. Do you figure out what his price is? Dare I say Bryce Young, right? I mean, do you figure out what his price tag is? But that's the conversation. If the run game's going to be this bad, this season's going to get off the rails quick for the Dolphins. I really do believe that. My most impressive, though, Zach Charbonnet, filling in very, very nicely for Kenneth Walker. 18 carries, 91 yards, 2 touchdowns in this one, but a PFF statistic. 9 forced missed tackles in this game, a 0.50 missed tackles forced per attempt average. That is very high, folks. That means that when you are touching the football, every other carry, you are having an opportunity where you are making somebody miss an open field. it's your job as the running back. That's why we love that stat, because the run game can often be so credited to the offensive line, which it makes sense when you think about the run game overall. But missed tackles forced, specifically missed tackles forced per attempt, and the average that you have there shows you how often does a running back as an individual make something happen in the run game, really get to create those yards once they get into open space. That and then yards after contact, 2 really good stats that we have there. So really good look from Zach Charbonnet there. I also do want to shout out Zach Seiler, who was number 2 on that list there. Said the second highest single game pass rushing grade of his career at a 90.0 with a 20.7 pass rush win percentage. So, obviously we didn't talk very highly of the Dolphins there, but shout out to Zach Seiler. Wanted to make sure that I got that in here.
Yeah, my most impressive, give me DK Metcalf all day. 4 catches, 104 yards, second straight game with a 50-yard touchdown. Just a perfect fit in this offense. Geno Smith slinging the ball deep. Metcalf has a 96 receiving grade on deep balls so far. Perfect fit in Ryan Grubb's offense and the way they want to throw it down the field. Everything works together, and Metcalf is the guy that makes it happen. Takes the top off, and the guy he did beat for his touchdown, Javon Holland, for me, is the most disappointing for the Dolphins. Dolphins D-line played pretty well in this game. The secondary has struggled through 3 weeks, and there's a lot of big names. You have Javon Holland, you have Jalen Ramsey, you have Kendall Fuller, you have a bunch of guys with talent, and they're just not getting it done. And right now he's got a 52.6 overall grade through 3 games. That is a career low through 3 games. So same thing you mentioned with the running game. If they don't start playing better on defense, it doesn't matter either.
Yeah.
I look, and it's going to be hard enough if Skylar Thompson's hurt, if he's out next week. It's hard enough. I saw it with the Jets last year. It's hard enough to win games with Tim Boyle as your quarterback.
Zach Wilson. They can give Zach Wilson a call.
You could. Oh, that would be some revenge, wouldn't it? Don't do that. Actually, don't do that, Miami. I don't need that. Well, it already hurts enough to see Darnold and Geno excelling. I don't need a third one. But no,
Geno's playing really well. Man.
Geno's so good.
He is playing.
Is he
really,
just the most underrated quarterback in football right now?
I think so.
He's so.
I
good.
think he is, because he's playing at a top 10 level. I feel like
the deep ball, the confidence, the pocket movement,
just
throwing
the poise
on
in every situation. I feel like
he is just a grizzled veteran at this point. He's really, really good. I mean, there's plenty of reasons they're 3-0, and some people will point to soft schedule. Look, Seattle, I believe they're leading the league in coverage grade on defense. And Geno Smith is playing, I think, somewhere in the top 5 or 6 of our overall grades. This is a good football team all the way around. And like you mentioned, Geno's a huge part of it. This is another good win for them.
My most disappointing is just Teron Armstead. I mean, eye injury, shoulder injury, knee injury. We're only 3 games into the season, and they obviously need him. I know Lamb played well in his stead, but they need Teron Armstead out there as much as a lot of other guys to get healthy, including Tua, which is what was a big storyline for this game.